Hey guy,
Yo, guy also.
what's going on?
Just fucking living the dream, man. Hanging out, chilling.
Yeah, I feel like there's nothing going on in your life right now. Like just
Most
nothing.
boring time I've ever had.
Yeah, it's weird. That's about the same for me. Like
Yeah.
just it's kind of, it's spring kind of like thinking about summer. You know what I mean? Like just nothing
Yeah.
going on.
I
No
get both spring
hockey.
and
Well, there's playoff hockey, but there's really no hockey. Like
yeah.
kind of over with. There's if you're into baseball, there's that, but that's boring. And
Yeah.
then like there's really nothing going on this time of year.
No, I have spring and summer in one day. I get them both.
How's that? Love
Actually, I think I have spring, fall, and summer. I wake up, it's 50 degrees outside, which is
spring
kind of fallish, fall,
or
spring.
fall. Okay, yeah.
And then by 10 or 11, it's like 60. And then by 1 o'clock, it's 80. And then it goes right back down to, you know, fucking 45 degrees at night.
Nice. And that's winter.
And that's pretty close. Yeah.
I did hear you're going to be having some 80-degree days this coming week.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least you're not dealing with monsoon season,
Yeah. No, not monsoon season.
where
My pool's
six,
actually up.
yeah, you're that's the thing. Your pool's up. Mine's thinking about it, but because it's rained almost every single day. I would say in the last 10 days, it's not rained one day.
Wow.
And then if you go even further, let's go 15 or 20 days, it's probably not rained for three of them. And I can just tell you, I've never been more sick of rain because while everything's so green, I'm sick of the rain because I'm sick of the rain because it rained too fucking much. But I told my wife yesterday, I said, you know, this is, by the way, it was raining when I said this. I said, we say we're sick of the rain right now, but in about 3 months, when it hasn't rained for 3 months, we're going to be like, should be nice if it rained, you know? And I was like, if you're like into God and all that and how he does the weather or whatever.
Oh no, that's Mother Nature. She does the weather.
Yeah, okay, so Mother Nature, whatever. The point is, like, we just can't be happy with what we got, right? We always got to bitch about something.
Yeah,
So
it's too
it's like,
cold, it's too hot. Yeah.
yeah, it's too cold. Yeah, it rains too much. The sun's too bright. You're like,
We're
fuck.
all Goldilocks.
Yeah, we are, as humans, we are pieces of shit. We really are. Like, could you imagine if you were like, I created this world for you and everything will work in sync? And then no, it's just, it'd be like if we had you at an ant farm,
Hmm.
had a nice hot light and then you made it go dark for a while, and then light and it would, they would do their thing, but then they bitched every like nonstop.
Yeah.
But we'd also have to do where at different points in times you'd have to basically take a 5 gallon bucket of water and just dump it on them.
Hmm.
And then you'd have, try and drown them all. And then maybe at the same time you get one of those giant like warehouse fans, and then you just turn that right on top, kind of create the tornado hurricane effect. And then while we're doing that, we'll just throw a bucket of water on them too. And
Hmm.
then when they're gonna let that shit dry out, and we're not gonna give them any water for like months. You know,
That sounds about right. And
you
that's what
can you
happens to
can
you.
play God with an ant farm.
You could.
You really can. Um,
Now I kind of want to have an ant farm.
just to fuck with them. Yeah.
Shake it up and shit.
Yeah. Do you have fire ants where you're at? I always
Um,
heard of these fire ants, and supposedly they're really bad down here.
we have them, yes.
Do you? I have apparently they bite, and
They do.
their bite's vicious.
Yeah, they're really bad in Florida.
Are they?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a southern thing.
Yeah. Maybe we don't have fire ants. We have ants that bite though.
Oh, see, I don't ever remember. when I lived up there, I know we had ants, but I don't remember there being fire ants. Or I guess like are there carpenter ants? Is that a thing?
Yep, that's
Do
the
they
thing.
bite? They're just big, aren't they? They don't bite
They're
though.
just big. They don't bite.
Yeah.
There's
Well, anyways,
eat wood and jerk off and shit. They're weird.
have you heard of that where you put like two different types of ants into a jar and they'll all just be there and exist. They won't do anything to each other. But then when you take the jar and you shake it up, then they all start fighting and they'll fight until the death. Ants.
No, I didn't know that.
And it's basically this correlation is used with humans. This is kind of why it's like a full circle here. We're circling back.
All
It's
right,
it's
back.
a yeah, it's a full circle thing of how say the elites and how they fuck with humans.
Hmm.
So like, oh, they try and race bait, white versus black, or you know, black versus Mexican, or brown, or however you want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And and we can all coexist and be fine, and everybody's hunky dory. But if you create a situation where you've essentially shaken the jar, which we're in the jar, let's say, and you've shaken it up by doing whatever, you've now created this where now we're all fighting, but we're only fighting because that's what they wanted us to do.
Hmm.
It's not because, oh, I stand for we've all been lied to basically. So these basically the point is these ants kill each other because they think, if I'm part of this group of ants and I see that group of ants over there and we're all fine, then the jar shakes and I go slamming into that guy and then he punches me and so then I punch him and then everybody starts fighting. We're mad at each other, but what we should be mad at is who shook the fucking jar.
Yeah,
That's the point. The humans. So, oh, I get mad at that guy over there, or, we're walking in public and he's, you know, steps on my toe. So then I punch him, and then it becomes a whole white versus whatever, me versus whatever. And then but really, the media's then taken that and made it into a giant race war. They're the ones shaking the jar. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Type of deal. That guy wouldn't have stepped on my toe if the media wasn't sitting there talking about how every white person's bad or every black person's bad or every whatever, and why we should hate each other in the first place. You know what I mean? If
yeah.
you get rid of that, just solve all those problems right there. Like, it's
E-
interesting. It's a weird
Either way,
comparison, but
either way, though, we're still in that snow globe.
hmm
You say jar, I say snow globe.
hmm
You know.
that's the point.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Anyway,
So
so weather's crazy.
let's do some words.
Let's do some words. I also want to point out this is the first episode I don't have a hat on.
Oh, fuck, you're right. You don't have a hat.
You didn't even notice it.
I don't have one either.
I've completely forgot to put one on, so
I noticed it, but didn't think about it. So we'll both do one without a hat today.
well, I think it's because before we record, we talk,
Hmm.
and I don't have a hat on during that.
Yeah,
I put a hat on for action. I didn't put a hat on today, so well, at least my hair's cut. It's
yeah,
really short right now, though. My hair is so. Um, and I shaved this. Oh, yeah, you saw that when I shaved this off.
yeah.
I think the last episode it was nice and clean, but all right. Here's some words. Um, this one could be fitting. You always want the title now, right?
Yep.
This is the Oscars.
Okay.
I don't know when the Oscars actually occur, but
Between now and yesterday, next year.
okay. Have they already occurred this year?
I don't know.
Okay. Me and Dave aren't on top of it like we used to be. But anyways, this one's called the Oscars. I need a verb ending in ing.
Boxing.
Okay. Give me one, two. Just give me a verb. One verb.
Let's go with steel.
Like Steal.
Yeah, like I just stole your money.
Yeah. Um, I need eight adjectives.
Okay. Let's go with pornographic,
Okay.
funny, hoary, slutty,
Jinkies.
um, childlike, um, red.
Just like Red.
Yeah, the color. Yeah. Windy.
Windy.
Yep.
Okay.
And short.
All right. That takes care of the adjectives. One, two, three, four, five, six. Six noun.
Okay. Um, left foot,
Hmm.
librarian, mummy, penis, pedophile, and nun. N-U-N.
Two plural nouns.
Let's go with boobies and popcorn.
Okay. Person in room.
Donald Trump.
Part of body.
Earlobe.
All right. Like I said, this one's called the Oscars.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies and boobies. I am so nervous. My nun is beating a librarian is beating a librarian a minute. That doesn't make any
Oh, it does. Nuns beat librarians.
sense. A minute?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't prepare a mummy. I never expected to win this slutty Oscar. I have so many people to steal. First and foremost, my windy co-star Donald Trump, who was always in my dressing left foot, held my earlobe when I was in trouble and never failed to compliment me or give me a pornographic pat on my pedophile when I did well. I also want to thank my childlike director, my hoary producer, and of course, the funny writer of the screenplay. Most of all, I want to thank you, my red fans, and all the members of the Motion Picture Penis who were responsible for my boxing this short award. Bless your popcorn.
Okay. So some of it worked.
Some of it works, some of it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
My windy co-star Donald Trump, and that's pretty
Added me on
catchy.
the added me on the pedophile.
Yeah, the give me a pornographic pat on my pedophile.
Yeah. When I did a good job.
I can't even use that as the title because there's two words there that they won't even allow
Yeah.
as a title. Pornographic and pedophile.
Motion picture or motion penis award.
Yeah, we might not get a title out of that, Mad Lib,
Yeah, that's for
but
sure.
that's okay.
Well, you can do welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and boobies.
Yeah. I think we were able to get away with it with the Chi-Chis a handful episodes ago,
Ah, yes, GG's.
but and but I don't know. Boobies might be. I think we'd be okay with boobies.
Yeah, it might be.
We'll see how it goes. Maybe there's a funny line that comes out in the rest of the episode.
Maybe.
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 Um, So, dear
Yeah,
Dave,
sure.
just get right into the
Jump right in.
jump right in. All right. Let's see here. Give me a number between 1 and 6.
4.
Okay. Let me slide it over here so I can read it. Man, you're doing a lot of adjusting over there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just getting comfortable.
Gotcha.
It's hard because my new tattoo, I don't really have a lot of room to move it around.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is somewhat of a long one,
Okay.
but you picked it, so. Um, the subject line, 17 male, do I have ADHD? Okay, here's the beef of the letter or meat of the letter. Hi, I'm 17-year-old male, and I've been overthinking if I might have ADHD or if what I'm experiencing is anxiety, OCD, or just my upbringing slash personality. Here's my full background. I think this is why it's long because kind of
It's his
giving
full
us
background as
giving
opposed
us
to.
backstory. So I grew up in a ghetto area full of gangbangers and crash out behavior. I've always been an attention seeker, trying to fit in by being a class clown, talking back to teachers, and acting out. At home, my mom wasn't strict, more of a talk to you type. So I learned to avoid tasks and lack discipline. By fifth grade, I was procrastinating heavily, and COVID made it worse. If I didn't care about something, I'd avoid it entirely. My room stayed messy, and I'd go weeks or months without showering because I genuinely didn't care about hygiene. I'd cover it up with cologne and focus more on looking good in public. In 2023, I used THC and nicotine heavily but quit in November, which triggered post acute withdrawal syndrome, which is pause, apparently. Before pause hit, I made a conscious decision to change my life. A few months before November, I started cleaning my room regularly and showering consistently because I genuinely wanted to improve myself and take better care of my life. Since then, I developed what feels like compulsive habits. I shower every day, my room is spotless, and I've been organizing everything. It doesn't feel forced. It started as a desire to do better, but now I wonder if it's a sign of OCD or ADHD. I also recently quit caffeine. While using it, I felt productive, confident, and focused, but now I have fluctuating energy levels. Some days I'm hyper and impulsive, other days I'm low energy and unmotivated. Without caffeine, I feel less confident and second guess myself. Here are my main concerns. Procrastination. I still procrastinate on things I don't care about, but if something feels urgent or important, I can push through and get it done. Hyperactivity. Some days I laugh uncontrollably at random things and feel full of energy. Other days I'm calm and grounded. Compulsions. My cleaning and organizing habits feel obsessive, but I don't know if they're OCD, ADHD, or related to pause. Overthinking. I overanalyze my actions and second guess everything, which feels like anxiety. I've seen professionals, and here's what they said. Psychiatrists. Two psychiatrists said I don't have ADHD. They think it's anxiety and a lack of structure, not a neurodevelopmental disorder. School counselor. She said my procrastination sounds like motivation issues, not ADHD, because I can do things when I feel urgency. Therapist. My therapist hasn't suggested ADHD. I brought it up after watching TikToks and overthinking everything. Socially, I feel like I don't belong. I'm well known and can talk to people easily, but I don't feel part of a group. I act sassy or cool to fit in, but then overthink how I come across. My questions are, do I sound like I have ADHD? Could this be anxiety, OCD, or just personality? Is it possible pause triggered my current habits and overthinking? End of email.
All right. Well, just going off of that, there's not enough information to say definitively whether or not you have ADHD. Do you sound like it? Not really. I do hear more of like a borderline personality traits, especially with the attention seeking. But I would say if he said the first two doctors said he didn't have ADHD, or the first two said he did.
Two psychiatrists said I don't have ADHD. They think it's anxiety and lack of structure.
Okay. And I agree with that. I don't think I mean, I don't think it's ADHD. I don't think it's OCD either. It could be, like I said, borderline personality would fit that, depending on a couple other assessments and whatnot. But my suggestion to him would be have his therapist really look more into the whys and the hows to find out if it is really borderline personality. If it's a borderline BPD situation, there are ways to kind of cope with it and learn to deal with it in a healthier way other than nicotine, THC, stupid shit like that. And through learning about BPD, as in borderline, not bipolar, but borderline personality, he can learn the negative attention seeking behaviors and how to rectify them so he's not attention seeking.
There you
Yeah.
go. I was going to say it sounds relatively normal.
Hmm.
I mean, a little weird when you go months without showering or weeks without
Yeah.
showering,
Yeah.
but to shower every day, that's normal. To
Hmm.
clean your room and for pick shut up, that's normal. I don't find those things being OCD or ADHD. ADHD, I mean, that's attention deficit hyperactive disorder, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't get any of that out of anything he said.
No, me neither.
So it's weird. There might be an OCD on wanting to have ADHD here because I feel like it's almost like they want to be diagnosed with ADHD. The
Hmm.
subject line is, "Do I have ADHD?" I've been overthinking if I might have ADHD. The first line. He's had two psychiatrists say no, a school counselor say no, and a therapist that hasn't suggested it. You don't have ADHD.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of the ADHD from this. You don't have it. Okay. Now, the OCD, showering every day, cleaning your room, that's not OCD. Showering 14 times a day, cleaning your room to like where you won't sleep for 6 days because it just can't ever be clean enough. These types of things are going to lead you more to OCD.
Yeah.
The ADHD, it doesn't exist here though.
No, it doesn't sound like it's presenting
So
anything like
I,
it.
I don't, I mean, that's relatively normal. Like I would say like this person's almost the most average that you could be, in my opinion.
And growing up in the ghetto, so he says he could have some PTSD in there as well. You know,
But I don't even get that out of this. Like, okay, we all went to school with someone trying to fit in by being a class clown,
yep.
right? Talking back to teachers, acting out. But like when you say acting out, what are we talking about here? Did we go up and fucking punch our principal in the face? Or
Right.
was it,
Whipping our
like,
dick up. What are we doing?
yeah, I need to know what this acting out was. But I mean, you basically described every boy in every classroom ever.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is 17 male. I don't see anything abnormal there unless the acting out was like to the point where you're getting arrested. Um, the like I said, the only part that is kind of concerning was the go weeks or months without showering, but this was also during COVID. You didn't leave your house, so who gave a shit?
Right.
Really? You know what I mean? And then when you did start going out in public again, you started showering. Yeah, you're gross when you sit at home and don't shower, but you're at home.
Right.
The fact that you used cologne to cover it up when you would go out is kind of weird, but like now that you're out and whatever. I don't, and let's be honest, we all have days where we're energetic and get shit done, and we all have days where we're just like, fuck it, I want to sit down and watch TV and not do anything.
Yep.
That is normal, I think.
No, it is
At
very
least
much.
seems very normal behavior. Caffeine can help, but you don't want to get an addiction to it. It doesn't sound like there's an addiction to it because also recently quit caffeine. He felt productive and confident and focused while using it, but then, you know, without the caffeine, he feels less confident and second guesses himself. Is a minor amount of caffeine bad for you though?
No,
So then fucking drink caffeine. Maybe don't drink 6 cans of what
Mountain
do they
Dew.
call that? C4 or whatever,
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah,
Monster or whatever these drinks are, Red Bulls. Maybe drink like I don't know. I'm assuming that the 17-year-old's probably not drinking coffee,
probably not.
if I had to guess. So I'm guessing it's a energy drink, right? So um I don't know. I don't want to sit here and say, well, maybe just have one per day. Because I don't even want to say that because but
He's
like
17. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, here's the
I
thing. If you've got a lot of shit you got to get done in a day and you just know like today I have to get 50 things done and I don't know how I'm going to do it, have one. If you have a day where it's like whatever, eh, I could clean my room, but I don't really need to because it's not really that messy. Don't drink one. You don't need one that day. But I mean, overall, this sounds like a pretty normal fucking person that
yeah, it doesn't sound
is
bad.
almost seeking a um not a title, but a uh seeking some sort of problem because they think they should have one because everybody around them does.
Well, there's that, and it could be that he's looking for a diagnosis to get help with school because he's got no motivation, doesn't want to fucking do good in school. So if he gets like says he's diagnosed with ADHD, he'll get like an IEP, which is individual education program, which then he could get longer time to take tests, would be able to turn homework in later. Like it's a nightmare for schools, but it's like a wet dream for kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're also 17 though, so I'm guessing we're in
Almost done with school.
almost
Almost
done with school unless this IEP transfers over to college. I don't know if that's a thing, but
no, they'd have to get a new one for each school. But
so I feel like there's the only OCD is the OCD of wanting to have ADHD. That's all. This person sounds 100% normal
yeah,
to me. I don't think there's anything wrong with this fucking person. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah, I agree. I
That's
agree.
the conclusion I come to. You sound so normal and average that I don't even. There's no. You're good, bro.
Yeah, right. Just calm the fuck down.
Yeah, just chill, relax.
All right.
You're good.
All right, what's the next one?
You want another one?
Let's do one more.
All right. So that was so now pick 1 through 5.
Two.
Okay. This is also from a male, a 20 male. It's 20 years old, male. Subject line: Girlfriend, 18 female, sharing private issues to male best friend who I'm uncomfortable with. Where to go from here? I'm 20 male and it feels overwhelming. Here's the email. I'm in a long distance relationship with my girlfriend, and lately I've been feeling uncomfortable about her closeness with her best friend, in parentheses, a guy. I've recently discovered some things that are making me question how much my boundaries are being respected. From what I've seen, she discusses private details about our relationship with him. These aren't just casual conversations, but things that I feel should stay between us as a couple. It makes me feel like my privacy is being ignored In addition to that, her friend sometimes jokes about me and seems to encourage her to dismiss my feelings or downplay my boundaries. There are moments where she discusses whether or not to tell me about her plans with him. For instance, she debates whether to tell me that her best friend is picking her up or that they're hanging out. This shows she's aware it might upset me, but still questions whether honesty is the best approach. She did end up telling me, but the thought of it says a lot to me. I've tried to have open discussions with her about why these boundaries matter, and while she acknowledges them at times, it doesn't feel like she fully respects or values them. Instead, she and her friend framed my concerns as trust issues, which makes me feel like the problem is entirely on my side. I want to believe in our relationship, but the way private matters are shared and how my boundaries are questioned is making it hard to feel emotionally safe or to trust her. I'm looking for advice on how to approach this situation. How do I communicate my discomfort and rebuild trust? Where do I go from here?
Wow.
End of email.
Well, if he's already had a conversation with her that it bothers him that she shares this information, she's telling him everything he needs to know about her and how she respects him and feels about him. If your wife hated the fact that you and I talk about things and she tells you that, but yet we still talk about things, you're basically saying, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm still going to do it, and I don't care if it bothers you or not. And that's not a good position to be in, especially being a long distance relationship. You know, because let's be honest, she's young. I'm guessing her friend is probably around that age too, 18, 19, or 20.
Mhm.
Let's be honest. What were we as guys thinking about when we were 18, 19, or 20?
How to get in those panties?
Exactly. So he's playing the long game,
Hmm.
at least in my opinion. Now, I don't know the guy. He could be gay, could be engaged. I don't fucking know. But the fact that he's like, oh yeah, dismissing, telling her to dismiss the guy's feelings and that it doesn't matter. My guess is he's playing the long game, hoping to get in that puss at some point.
When she and him break up.
Yep. Yeah. Which I would ultimately say that's probably the best idea.
So I've always found these situations where a girl whose best friend is a boy or a guy whose best friend is a girl,
Mhm.
these are usually not, they're usually not best friends because they both want to just be friends.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out how to say this the right way.
Yeah, there's
Usually one of
there's
them wants to be with the other one.
yeah.
They're accepted friendship to remain close to this person they're basically obsessed with
Mhm.
and will surreptitiously through conversations and actions and things like that always try to push either in either situation the boyfriends or the girlfriends away, finding
Right.
issues with them. Oh, did you see how he reacted to that? Oh, did you see how she, well, whichever side you're on, you're that best friend. And you even have girls with female best friends and males with male best friends. I think it's less on the males with male best friends. It's more on the females with female best friends that you'll have that. And a lot of it is, oh, I'm just trying to look out for you. Hope point out things that maybe you're not seeing because, when you're in love, you're ignoring all the red flags. So you might have that best friend that's like pointing these things out, but you also might have that best friend that's playing the long game. And
Right.
this is where it gets hairy because we can't say every single situation is like this. But by and large, in my experience, that's usually what it is. You've
Usually the
got the opposite sex best friend is usually way interested in the one party. And it's if that opposite sex best friend never has a significant other, but you always do, that opposite sex best friend wants you,
yep.
typically. if you're the
Time, yeah.
if you're the opposite sex best friend that doesn't have anybody, you already know I'm right. You know you want that person. They're always with somebody, and you just don't know how to show them and get them because they're probably not into you that way. But you're thinking if you stick around long enough and you play the nice guy or the whatever, it's typically usually like that. It's usually then the female to male. It's not as much male to female,
Right.
where the best friend's a female. Um, but it does happen. I've seen it. I've seen both of these scenarios, and it seems always to be that case.
Mhm.
And they don't, it doesn't ever work out where on the rebound they turn to you and whatever. And I think nowadays it also becomes one of these things where the opposite sex best friends decides, well, I'll just, I'll just be gay or I'll just be a lesbian. Like I think
Right.
there's choices being made, and I know this is controversial to some extent, but I think there are people that are truly born where they don't feel right in their body or whatever. But then I know for a fact there are also people that 100% choose to be one way or the other for social reasons.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of dudes that just don't know how to talk to girls that decide I'm going to be gay and now I'm always surrounded by girls and it's just easier for them to cope because now they're always around chicks. They're into chicks, but they pretend like they're into dudes. Those gay guys that never seem to have boyfriends aren't actually gay.
Oh
They're
yeah.
they're into chicks and they get to be around chicks and they get to see the chicks' tits and they get to do all the chick things
Because
without
they're
ever
safe,
having, yeah,
you know.
yeah. Um, so that's a thing. And I think it flops the other direction too. Chicks that I'm just done with men, so I'm gonna start eating pussy and be a lesbian. You're still into dudes. You just are barking up the wrong tree with the guys you're into. Maybe stop going with the deadbeat losers. And you know what I mean? You don't have to go eat pussy now because you've been wronged by the last nine dudes. Maybe you just have really bad choice.
Jason.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, taste in men.
Mhm.
I mean, you see it all too often.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we should be against gays or any of this stuff. I'm not saying any of that. Do whatever you want. I don't really care. But I do think there is more choice to this than, oh, I was born this way. No, by and large, no, you weren't. It's the society, it's the culture, it's everything that's turning you to make you think you kind of like the last guy. Do I have
Yeah.
ADHD? I must have ADHD. No, you don't. You don't even know what it means because there's nothing in anything you said that screams ADHD. You've had 20 fucking people, professionals, tell you you don't have ADHD, but you're still obsessed with thinking you have ADHD.
Right.
You
Which you
don't
don't.
have anything, dude. You're fine. You're normal. Shouldn't even
Right.
have wrote the email. Be honest with you.
Well, it's attention seeking.
What's that?
It was attention seeking.
Hmm? There you go. He got 10 minutes on a podcast. He
Yeah.
got some attention. We didn't say your name. I'm not going to, but you don't have anything. It's like I don't know. Sometimes I think some of these people that are gay, it's attention seeking too. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I can see that.
I do. I think it's a way to. I don't know how to fit in. I don't know how to talk to girls. I don't know how to do this. I don't know. I'm going to be gay, and I'll just turn it on. And I guess the biggest thing there is overcoming kissing another dude. But if you don't ever have a boyfriend, you don't ever have to do that. You always just, oh well, you just make these names up. Think about this. Oh, well,
I got a boyfriend in Canada.
yeah, yeah, it's a long distance thing that you only do on FaceTime that nobody's ever around for, and
Right,
his name
right.
is Derek or whatever, and exists but not really. You know what I mean? And then you go find some random person on the internet's picture, and every once in a while you show the girls, oh, this is Derek. You know what I mean? We just pretend this whole fucking thing. Or who knows, maybe you are literally being catfished. The
Right.
point is, they're not gay. You know what I mean? And then there are people that are. There are dudes that are way into having cock slammed in the back of their throat. I'm sorry, it just is. And there are chicks that are not into dudes at all and just want to chow.
Mhm.
It is what it is. But there's a lot of them that are faking it on both sides too, because
Yeah.
they don't know how to deal with their everyday insecurities and all this. And it was easier to take on this image. And it has helped by culturally, we have to be accepting of this, right? So it's made it easier to take on these roles, which is why you have guys like the 6'4" male with the giant Adam's apple uh, in GameStop saying it is ma'am. Okay, well your voice doesn't say it's ma'am,
Right.
sir. Especially when I can see the bulge in your pants. It's not well, it's actually your skirt that you're wearing. Just because, like, it's weird when you start dressing like a female when you're a fucking linebacker, Like,
Right.
you're not a female. And you don't even feel like a female. You don't want to be a female. You're doing it so you can walk into the women's restroom.
Yep.
You're a pervert, is what it is. And this is going to be controversial, but this is why I include pedophiles in the LGBTQ plus community because they're special in their own way, and you take that on. So, anyways, I don't know
Yeah.
if I answered any questions here, but well, yeah, where should this guy go from here?
Um,
Does he need to drop this chick, or does
I,
he need
yeah,
to sit down and have like a? It's a long distance relationship, so I guess let's wager that that's not probably not going to work out in the first place. So,
yeah. Like I said, if we've already had that conversation, telling her that he's uncomfortable and doesn't like it, and she still continues to do it, why the fuck are we even having a conversation? Like it's over at that point.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I would like to know the girlfriend's side of things. I guess I'd like to know, like, all right, take the male best friend out of the equation here.
Okay.
So if okay, maybe let's take the long distance out of the equation here. Let's say 20-year-old male, 18 female lived in the same apartment together.
Mhm.
Is male best friend going to be the go-to for everything, or is it only because that's who she has immediately and can't, turn to this dude with every little, whatever. Like, would if they were together in the same town, including male best friend, would she be opting to go out with male best friend over boyfriend, or would the male best friend start to be like understood, like, you have a place in my life. It's just not going to be in my life. You know what I mean? Like you're going
Yeah.
to be right over here as the friend that we see when we go out and all of our friends are out type of deal. You know what I mean? I'd like
Yeah.
to know that dynamic, what would happen there. And then, yes, I can almost guarantee you male best friend, even if gay, probably is playing the long game.
Yeah.
The odds say that's the case.
Agreed.
So I don't know. What I'd tell this dude to do is just keep doing what you're doing, but open yourself up to people locally because there's a lot of fish in the sea.
Oh yeah, for
You can
sure.
find somebody that's local that, you know, if they have a male best friend, I mean, you're 20, dude. You got time, you know.
Absolutely.
Like you got the whole rest of your life, bro. Like, I mean, I didn't get anything out of this that says I am, if I lose this girl, I'm gonna end my life. I didn't get any of that out of this. So,
Yeah.
you can keep talking to her and play the whole long distance dating thing, but I'd start dating in my local scene if I was this guy, or at least seeing what's out there. And then when you meet somebody else, because you will, then let this girl know, like, hey, I don't want to say drop the male best friend and move closer type deal, but I'd be like, I just getting weird vibes out this male best friend of yours, Derek,
Mhm.
whatever, and not digging it. And so I
Well, yeah.
think
What if Derek was her long time best friend since she was like,
like second grade type shit.
yeah, yeah,
And that could be 100% what it is. But Derek still has feelings for her. Guaranteed.
yeah,
Derek over time decided in seventh grade he's gay now because Derek's obsessed with, let's call her Julie. Derek's obsessed with Julie. Derek doesn't know how to tell Julie his feelings or has tried to in roundabout ways, but has chosen the path of gay best friend or maybe just not gay best friend, maybe just best friend. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
The point is, Derek's obsessed with Julie, probably.
Mhm.
The only time this I don't know. I would say if Derek was fully in support of, let's give this guy that wrote the email a name of Chad. If Derek's like, no, I'm, not dismissive of Chad's feelings or any of this shit and fully in support of their friendship or relationship, then I would say Derek has good intentions there.
Yeah.
The second Derek starts questioning Chad, you could say, oh, well, he's just looking out for her best interest. But is
No,
it?
he's
It's usually not, is the point.
putting the seed of doubt into her mind to
Yeah.
start being able to lay that pipe.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, and we're basing it off of what typically is. It's not always that way. There's always a chance Derek is
Yeah.
literally the best friend that is not interested in Julie and is just trying to point out red flags when he sees them. And maybe Chad is overthinking things. It's 100% could be that. It's probably not, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The odds are against that being the case.
Yes.
Just saying, it's just is what it is. Statistically, Derek wants Julie, and Chad's 100% right. He's getting weird vibes off of Derek
Hmm.
and suspects Julie of, obviously you're going to gravitate to your best friend, male or female, over new guy that's trying to date you or new girl that's trying to date you. I mean,
Right.
that's what it is. You've known this person longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give an example. I had a female friend. I wouldn't have labeled as a best friend, but a female friend. You know who this person. She's no longer alive,
Hmm.
but she existed before my first wife.
Hmm.
She existed through that marriage, that divorce, and existed before my second wife. When I started dating my second wife, obviously before I got married, I brought this friend out. I made it very clear this is a friend. Yes, she's of the opposite sex, but I never hid. I never changed how I acted. I never did anything that would make anybody think or believe that there was ever anything there because there wasn't.
Right.
I would go out to, it's very interesting because I would go out for drinks on occasion with this friend
Hmm.
without my wife.
Yep.
And one of these occasions, one of her friends was out at the same place, saw me and this person talking, and I don't remember if it was a picture taken, but there was definitely a text that was sent. Your husband's with another woman at this place. And my wife responds with, yeah, that's, and I won't say her name, that's so and so. I'm fully aware that's his friend. But it's because I never hid that. And
Right.
because there was nothing there. You know what I mean? Like, it's all how you present this other person. You know what I mean? Like, if there is something there, the natural reaction is to kind of hide, do what the girl's doing,
Right.
kind of, right? Like, you don't do that unless there could be something there. And, maybe at some point, Julie here does turn to Derek and, I don't know. What if Derek and Julie are casually dating while also she's long distance dating Chad?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
Possible.
It's
Possible.
entirely possible. I guess the point is, if you're going to have a friend of the opposite sex and there is no interest and you guys have established this between your friendship and then you proceed to get in relationships, you need to have that wide open because there isn't an ounce of jealousy of my ex-wife or my current wife of that friend because I made it clear beforehand.
Right.
I let them talk. I don't. It's like when I would have them meet, I wouldn't even stand there to make sure the conversation went a certain way. It was whatever you fucking want to talk about because I didn't have anything to hide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if me and that friend had done something, I might be more like, I got to guide this conversation, make sure it doesn't get on that topic, right? But then I've created this thing for myself. So now I have to play this fucking game of, oh, I got to make sure friend doesn't bring up that one time we got drunk and did something together. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right. Right.
uh, that just never happened. So I never had to worry about it. It's like, I don't give a shit what you guys talk about. Go talk about whatever you want, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Got nothing.
interesting because my wife actually has told me now, in since this person has since passed, that it's funny, and I'll tell it. And my wife probably get mad at me for saying this publicly, but I think it's an interesting, and it kind of um gives you one of these like, oh wow, that's anyways, I'll just tell the story and then you can
Yeah.
kind of comment. I don't think I ever told you this, Dave. You know who I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
apparently, so me and my wife first, obviously we were just first met. Or wasn't married yet, obviously. And it was, like most people meet and they're just having fun, right?
Yeah.
We're all out and doing whatever. And the woman that became my wife told this female friend of mine, the female friend asked her, "What's your intentions with Ryan? Like, what are you going for here?" And she's like, "Oh, I think, or just have fun and, you know, you know, couple a couple ditties and whatever." Like, no, like thought process of long term or whatever, and kind of
Right.
like, yeah, we'll just maybe have some fun, hook up, and then go on our way, right? This is what my wife says to this friend, and the friend goes, "Don't do that to him. That's not how he is. It's not like if that's what your intentions, obviously you're going to do what you're going to do, but I know him, and you're going to do more damage in the long run. So, whatever." Now, obviously, I never knew this conversation happened, but
Right.
it's interesting because I don't tend to be one that's just like, oh, I'm gonna go, you know, not that I haven't. I'm just saying I didn't go out, oh, every single night of the week, I'm gonna have my dipstick in a new oil pan. You know what I mean? That wasn't my thing. It was like, if I'm talking to you, then I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? I'm not talking to you, right?
Right.
That's me. Everybody's different. But so and not once did that friend ever come to me and say that conversation had
Hmm.
happened. My wife never came to me and said that conversation had happened until long after the fact. So there was a loyalty of that friend, but didn't try and intervene with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let's say Derek is doing with
Yeah, right.
Julie and
Undermining
Chad. I
toxicity.
guess that's why I tell the story to make that point. Like, yes, that friend could have came to me and said, "Hey, she just wants to whatever." If there was an interest there, that's what you would do.
Right.
She told her what she thought of the situation and then left it alone. Let
Let
it
them.
develop how it's going to develop. And my wife took that to heart and realized, okay, if I'm really gonna get into this, then I know what I'm getting into. It's either it's not gonna happen or it's gonna like we're gonna go full force. You know what I mean? It wasn't just gonna be like a fuck around and then whatever. She understood that at that point because of that friend that would say something like that and not involve themselves on my end. You know what I mean? I look at it as like a, well, that's pretty solid. And but it's because me and her didn't have anything. So there wasn't like she's looking out for me, but went directly. It'd be like if Derek went and told Chad, hey, this girl you're talking to, just want to let like that kind of a deal,
Right.
I
Right.
guess. As opposed to Derek saying something to Julie, because Derek wants Julie, right? So if
Bottom
she
line,
would have came back to me, I would have said, "Oh, this friend." I wouldn't have seen it at the time, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
This
Chad
is
needs to
how
get
it
rid
was handled. It's handled in the a way that you can see that the friend is a friend. It's not a friend that wants more.
yeah, no, I think Chad needs to get rid of Julie.
I agree. Sorry, Chad, to long-winded burst your bubble here, but I think you're going to be better off. And lots of the times, man, long distance doesn't work. Lots of times. Not saying it can't, it just typically doesn't. And
Yeah,
especially when you're long distance and significant other has a near, a real close opposite sex best friend. You're just asking for trouble. You don't need the fucking time and house. You're too damn young.
agreed.
All right, there you go, Chad, or whatever your name is.
Good
All
luck.
right. Yeah, good luck. Um, Movies. What you been watching? So I've been on three flights because I missed the fourth one. Um, but I was on three flights and I watched two movies during that time.
Yeah.
The other flight was so short there wasn't time to watch anything. But I'm trying to think, did I watch anything else? So I'll go first, and you go.
Yeah.
The first movie I rewatched Wicked.
Okay.
I looked at the length of the flight and it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something. And then I looked at the time of the movie and it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I thought, all right, this is perfect. If I start it while we're still on the ground taxiing, I'm going to get whatever and it'll be done by the time we land. And so I did because I wanted to rewatch it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it thoroughly, minus oh, you're right in the middle of like a, what's the big song at the end?
Defying gravity.
Yeah, Defying Gravity. You're right in the middle about to hit the thing. This is the captain speaking, or it's like
Ow.
because I don't know if you had this, but when you're watching the screen, whenever the captain comes on, the movie stops.
Yep.
It pauses, and this is the captain speaking. It's like, dude, come on. I
You're
get
not
it.
movie, bro.
I get it. We're gonna land in 20 minutes. I don't give a shit. Just land the fucking plane. You don't gotta tell me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then he'd get off and then it'd start never gonna bring me this is what are we doing? It's like it's just like the worst time to interrupt.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's good rewatching it. I hadn't rewatched since the theaters. Um, but it was good. Second film I watched, and the only reason I watched this because I literally thought to myself, I will never sit and watch this at any other time. And because it's topical. Because, the Pope just died,
Yeah.
and real time, we've got a new Pope from Chicago, by the way.
Yep.
I don't know if you've
Where's
heard
that?
all that. But the movie The Conclave had come out. So I thought, I'm never going to watch this fuck. But I'm curious because the description says something about like the secret whatever or what happens when the Pope dies and the electing of a new Pope or whatever. This, and that's kind of what it says, something like that in the description. And I was like, I'm curious, like, because I know they like choose one, but what I don't know how this process goes. I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know. I'm curious. I'll watch this movie. Plus, it kind of had the feeling of like, oh, there's like conspiracy or something involved with it or whatever. So I watched this most boring movie ever. There's been more boring movies, but it's pretty fucking boring.
Okay.
Um, it had a few twists, but nothing that was like oh mind-boggling or whatever. It was.
I was just calling you.
I see that. I was just texting you. So I was going to tell you that my power went off for like a half a second. Like
Hmm.
all my screens went black except the main screen here that I was talking to you on. And when it did that, the internet went out and
Yeah.
I had to, yeah, obviously when power goes out, it has to reboot. So that's what it was delayed. It was waiting on that to reboot. So I was texting you that and then I saw you call, but then this popped up. So,
Yeah.
okay, so I was in the middle of talking about Conclave.
You said it was the most boring movie ever, and that's as far as I
Okay.
got.
So there are more boring movies. Yes, but I was expecting more out of it, I guess. I was expecting more of like the conspiracy and all. There was like it was an okay couple twists, but not like they weren't like ground like oh my God, like I didn't see that coming. It was more like, oh, that's interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm glad I watched it on the plane because I would have been mad I wasted money at a theater. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny because when that movie came out, my dad, of all people, was like, "You got to get this movie. I want to see it." And I'm like, "Okay." And then it came out on Vudu like a couple days later, so I bought it. Haven't watched it yet,
oh, do you
and
have it on there?
yeah, it's on my Vudu. Yeah,
Okay.
haven't watched it yet, but my dad was so dead set on getting it. I got it, and he watched it like the very first day I bought it, and I was like, "Oh, I'll watch it," but I just never got around to it. I'm glad I haven't because you said it sucked. So
Ask your dad. I'm curious what he says about it.
I
Like, cause
will.
like if he was dead, so I got to see this movie. But then you obviously haven't heard like him say, "Oh, it was really good." Like he didn't like go out of his way to then tell you how great it was either.
Right,
So
right.
I'm curious, just nonchalantly next time you talk to him or whatever, just say, "Hey, so how did you like Conclave?" and see what he says.
I
Because
will.
I was expecting there to be a little more, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So those are two. What was the third
So
one?
I'm trying to remember, dude. It seems like I watched something else, but it's been a couple weeks, so I don't remember.
Okay.
We'll just go with those. If I think of it, I'll add it at the end of this conversation. But at the moment, I cannot think. I really can't. I can't remember.
All right.
So
So
beyond traders, what else have you been watching?
real time yesterday, I watched Wick Is Pain.
Oh, I did see that on your Voodoo.
Yeah.
That's a documentary, right?
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
looking at that last night. I was thinking about watching it, and so was it good?
It was. It was interesting. There was a lot of issues with the movie, and it almost didn't get made.
Really?
Yeah. Funding. They lost funding like two or three times.
Oh,
And they even like Keanu and the directors all took a pay cut just to make the movie. And then ironically, Ava Longoria is the one that put in like $6.5 million to get the movie made.
Oh,
They didn't really go into detail like how she got involved. They just said that at the last minute, she's the one that popped in the money.
that's weird
Yeah.
because I used to like Ava Longoria. And then, like most of Hollywood, she spewed her liberal bullshit. So I
Mhm.
kind of like whatever, but that's interesting. It makes me wonder, like, yeah, how did she get involved? I didn't know her and Keanu had a relationship
Yeah, I don't know if it
of
was.
like any kind, not even friendship, but like any kind of.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was even Keanu. It could have been one of the directors. I don't know.
Right.
I got no idea. They didn't even go into detail on how it all happened, but just that she was there,
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. And then they said that, like, well, not only that, but they only, when they first put it out there, they had international rights, but they didn't have any domestic. And so they were going to just get it out there. And then Lionsgate saw the trailer and they're like, no, we're going fucking domestic. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And and they said it just blew up from there. And then the director, it was two directors that directed it. There was two different directors. Um, and the one of them ended up going through a divorce while fucking filming the first movie.
Well,
Like there's so many things that happened. They had too tight of a schedule to film everything they wanted to, so they had to cut a bunch of scenes, and so it was just chaos. It was really interesting because
yeah.
I like that kind of shit. You know, the weird thing is when it came up yesterday and it was a bundle. It was like 19.99. It was the fucking movie and a deck of cards.
Yeah.
And I don't really need the deck of cards, but it wouldn't let me buy just the movie. Like I had to buy both, which kind of pissed me off. So then when I did that, and then I went to go watch it, it gave me an option to buy just the movie for like 14.99. I'm like,
Hmm.
are you kidding me? Like I could have spent $5 cheaper and not. I don't need another deck of cards. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So wait, are
But
they shipping you the deck of cards then?
yeah, yep. Yeah, it's a John Wick like black edition. I don't know, fucking whatever.
Well, they could be pretty cool
It
cards.
might be, yeah.
For
So
$5, I mean, fuck it. Why not?
yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
what would you really need it? No, but
Yeah. So that we watched that. I halfway watched the movie Drop,
mm,
and I say halfway because I fell asleep.
right there, buddy. That's most of my movies. So
So I haven't gone back to rewatch it yet, but I did fall asleep on that one. Have you seen the trailer for that?
I have. I want to see it. So I'm glad you have it there because
Yeah.
that's one I want to watch.
Yeah.
It looks pretty intense, like the because yeah, she's out on a date and she keeps getting these like dropped or texts,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like it appears as though whoever this is in the house with her kid, and
Mhm.
if she doesn't do something like against this guy she's on a date with, it like becomes a
Kill
whole
the
thing.
guy.
And
Yeah, she's
yeah,
supposed to kill the guy she
yeah,
lives
that's
with.
right. So it's like, yeah, I really want to see it because I kind of like those suspense thrillers like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's exciting. So
And then I watched Trap again. I really liked that movie.
what's this now?
Trap, that's got Josh Hartnett. He's a serial killer, and the government, or like the CIA or FBI or all of the three-letter fucking crooks, put this concert on together, and he takes his daughter to the concert, and nobody can leave because they heard through the grapevine that this serial killer they're looking for is actually at the concert.
Oh.
You haven't seen that one or talked? We haven't talked about that one.
No, was just trying to pull it up. Not even heard of it.
Oh man, that's super good, dude.
Oh, M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing I don't like about it, but it's actually a really good movie. It's
Okay.
got M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's daughter. She actually put out an album for this because she's the artist that's at the concert.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's actually a really good movie, dude.
Wow.
So
Well,
I've
I'll
watched.
definitely check this out. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Yeah,
got
Salika Shyamalan,
yeah,
Lady Raven.
yep.
She's a good singer.
She's all right.
She's all right. All right.
All right.
Um, I honestly didn't know. M. Night Shyamalan, he had such a bad rap, I guess, as we were coming up. Like, every movie he came out with, oh, there's always a twist, but it was always like stupid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I've kind of like, what was that one movie that Old,
Hmm.
right? I liked that one. There's a weird twist at the end. All his movies have a weird twist at the end. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. Like Signs was,
Yeah.
where you see the alien. If he would have just not shown the alien, it probably would have been better. Um,
Yeah, I think this is probably his best. The one M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie that I like.
okay.
I do like it. You know.
I was just pulling up to see because I didn't honestly. I guess what I was getting at is I don't even I don't think of him as a guy who's still making movies for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's I've kind of like picked him up and set him over here. Like I kind of forget about you for right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
So
the world does. You
so
know.
like I'm looking. There's a lot that he's done that I didn't like. Just going here. You want me to share the screen?
Sure.
We can look at it together and maybe discuss some of these. All right, you can see the screen.
Yep.
So, Caddo Lake is
I
like
heard it.
never heard of it?
Nope.
Me either. Trap you just talked about.
Yep.
The Watchers didn't know anything about that. Apparently, Servant, the TV series, never heard of it.
Oh.
Knock at the Cabin, never heard of it.
Yeah, I got that one.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
How is that?
It's weird. It's got Bautista.
Oh, that's probably why I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I
click
can't
on it.
stand him.
It's interesting. You'd like the premise of it.
Oh, this is yeah. I saw the first 5 minutes. This is where him and yeah, she's sitting yeah, and they
Yep.
walk up to the door. It's like two gay guys, right?
Yeah, I think
She's
so.
adopted by like yeah, the two gay guys. I've seen the beginning where they show up to the door, and then I think I fell asleep and I never gave it another chance. So yes, I do know of this movie. You said
Yeah.
it was good though?
It was pretty good.
All right.
I mean, it's not the greatest M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, but it's an okay movie. It's good for at least one or two, maybe three views.
Okay. All right, so let's go back. What is this shit?
Fuck off of our screen.
Old.
Yeah, we saw that one.
And I liked that one. No idea. This is obviously his daughter
Yeah, this is a music
music
video.
video. Glass.
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yep.
Never seen that. Split. I've never seen this, but I heard this one was really good.
Actually, you know what? I did like Split. Split was good.
Yeah.
Glass is a sequel to that.
To Split. Okay.
Yeah.
Wayward Pines. I've heard of. Couldn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, I heard of it. Yeah.
The Visit.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's when they go visit the grandparents.
oh yeah, and the grandparents are like weird,
Yeah. Yep.
and they end up being like I don't remember how what, but they
I never saw it, but yeah, it was.
yeah. Okay. After Earth.
I didn't see that, but that's got "Keep Your Wife's Name Out My Mouth" in it.
Yeah, that was those two. I always heard this was shitty. It was a bad one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Devil. I liked Devil. I
I
thought that
like that one.
that
That
was a
was,
good movie.
that was the elevator one. I like that one.
Yeah, I didn't know he was behind the last Airbender, but I've
Uh,
never seen it.
Not me neither.
The Happening. Uh,
Yep.
it was okay. Best thing about that movie was Mark Wahlberg, just because it was Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, the best thing about that movie was the ending.
Yeah, yeah, where it was over.
Yep. Yep.
Lady in the Water, I heard was shitty.
Yeah, I heard that was really shitty.
I liked The Village. I mean, I like the twist at the end, but I hate the twist at the end at the same time. You know, the movie Signs, I like that it's about aliens,
Yeah.
but it was also kind of weird. A lot of people really liked Unbreakable. I was bored by Unbreakable.
I want to say Unbreakable, Glass, and Split are all three tied together.
Okay, yeah, because there's something about an Unbreakable about glass, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Like or something, I thought. Maybe not, but
I'm pretty sure because Unbreakable has Samuel L. Jackson, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and that's he's in the other two. So yeah.
Okay.
Or no, he might not be in Split. He's in Glass.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he's in
Like
Split, but I've never seen it.
Unbreakable's about Samuel L. Jackson's character. Split's about what the fuck that guy's name is, and then Glass is the two of them together.
Praying with Anger, I've never heard of.
Never heard of it.
And the only other thing would be what's upcoming. He's Remain, an untitled project, and Labor of Love. So this will be his next big one, probably.
Probably.
What Remain is about. Should we add a plot? You should log in and add a plot that's like nothing of.
I
I wonder if you can do that, or because you're not on it, if you wouldn't be able to. Look at the stars: Jake Gyllenhaal and Phoebe Dynevor.
don't know who that is.
I don't either, but I know who Jake Gyllenhaal is.
I know Jake Gyllenhaal's.
Gyllenballs.
Yep.
See what she's been in. Bridgerton, Younger, Dickensian, Fair Play,
Don't know any of that shit.
Snatch, the TV series, The Musketeers. She's done a lot of TV, it looks like.
Oh, yeah, I don't know anything about any of those. I don't know who
All
she
right.
is.
So, anyways, whoever she is, we
Fuck
know
her.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Let's see what his
God, they're still advertising Deadpool Wolverine.
yeah.
Jesus.
Well, I'm on AOL dial-up, so that's probably why.
That could be. That could be.
Yeah, they don't have anything listed. This is a horror and thriller. That's it.
Yeah.
And that he's the writer. No.
I'm on I'm on Bloomford bulletin board system. You remember that?
No, but it's got to be old.
Yeah. Labor of Love.
Yeah, a widower embarks on a cross-country trip on foot to prove his love for his late wife.
That's dumb.
Yeah,
I'm not watching that one. It was written in 1992.
and sold in '93. Harrison Ford was initially considered to play the lead, with Sidney Pollack approached to direct. Production stalled when Eric Roth's subsequent screenplay for Forrest Gump recycled a similar plot device. The movie then languished in development hell for over 20 years. Well, leave it to M. Night Shyamalan to pull that thing out of the trash can and say, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, way to go, Shamalama Ding Dong.
He wrote the original screenplay as a Valentine's Day gift to his girlfriend, now wife. Huh. The film was originally pitched with Denzel Washington as a lead. However, Washington withdrew from the role in order to perform in A Raisin in the Sun
Yeah.
on Broadway and was subsequently replaced by Bruce Willis.
Well, he ain't doing it.
No,
Mhm.
expected to be the first collaboration between Nicolas Cage and M. Night Shyamalan. Maybe it's Nick Cage now as the lead.
I could see that because he's been doing some weird fucking shit.
An early draft of this screenplay has been available online since the early aughts. The fuck does that mean? Aughts.
No idea.
Is that like is aught? You know how like guys that are big gun nuts, they're like whatever ought
Seven
be.
ought six kind of shit.
Yeah, what is an ought? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Carry On was a good movie. Um, I don't know what an odd is.
We're gonna look it up. What is an aught? Oh, hang on. Let me fix it for you.
Oh, it can mean anything.
Aught is a pronoun in the English language that has two primary meanings. It can mean anything or anything at all. For
So
example,
since the
Dave
early
cares
80s,
for aught, but his own well-being. Aught can also mean of importance or consequence in the phrase of ought. It can also mean esteem or respect. For example, a man of aught means a man of high esteem, an important or well-respected man. So I
so
wonder if ought
early
or and what they,
anything.
but what when you say like the gun nuts say something ought whatever, is it like that doesn't make sense.
Do
Unless it's
30,
not the same
type
ought.
in type in what is 30-06. See, it's a different aught. AUT. See the very first one?
3-06 rifle, also known as the third. So ought is this little dash, basically, because that's if you were saying 0.30-06, they say 30-06, right?
Yeah.
Now it sounds like they're saying ought, like OT,
Yeah.
30-06. OUGHT.
I go, why is it called a 30-06?
The term OUGHD ought in the context of the 30-06 cartridge refers to the year it was adopted by the U.S. military, which is 1906. The '06 signifies a year, and the ought is an old-fashioned way of saying zero.
Okay.
This nomenclature is part of a broader tradition of using ought to denote the year of a military adoption or development. The term ought is derived from Old English word awit, which means anything at all or something, and evolved to mean nothing or zero in a numerical context. Aha, I get it now.
So since the early nothings and early everythings, that's how long you can watch it on the internet.
So yeah, so if you hear somebody, so I've heard guys say this all the time, and it's always like, so I've asked gun guys, and they don't know. I've asked, I go, what the fuck does that mean when you say "ot"? I don't know. That's just what it is. Well, okay, why are you saying it then? Like,
Right.
now you could say I'm a kind of a dick when I do this, but like when I hear certain people use words and I know they're using that word because they've heard it, but they can't spell it, I tell them you can't use it unless you can spell it.
Nice.
It drives me nuts. I'm an asshole. I'm kind of a grammar Nazi.
You can't say that word unless you can spell it.
Nazi.
Grammar. Grammar,
G
douchebag.
R A M M A R. I can spell just about anything, buddy.
All right.
I was one of those guys that I didn't want to. It's kind of weird because we're doing a podcast talking to the world, but I wasn't a big fan of like standing up in front of an entire school spelling words. So I would intentionally spell something wrong so I could just get out and go sit on the side and watch everybody else. But I honestly think I could have won spelling bees. I'm really good at spelling.
Well, you can do the loophole just like bad words and do it now.
Eh. No, I'll just be a grammar Nazi. It's fine.
All right.
Um, but so like it drives me nuts when these guys say 30-06 and don't know what the fuck it means. So I would never say it because I didn't know what it meant. If I'm using a
Well,
word, I probably know what it means, you know?
now you do.
So yeah, now I do. It basically stands for uh when the military adopted it, which is '06, so aught six.
Yep.
Why don't they just say 3006? Then it would be quicker, wouldn't it? 30-06.
Yeah.
It's just using a, I don't know. So this is what I think you should do. When you hear somebody say when they're talking about their guns, when you're at these different things, the 30-06 or whatever, ask them, what does the ot stand for? Act like you don't know. And I guarantee you most gun people don't know either.
Yeah, probably not.
It's the one thing I think you can get on a gun person because they're so knowledgeable about everything about guns. So they have no idea why they're saying 30-06 though. They have no idea why they're saying the ot. I guarantee it.
I
So
agree. I agree.
now you, Dave, and you listeners can call these guys out on their ot bullshit. Anyways, so you went and saw, or you saw, what was the movie? Trap. You saw
I
Trap,
watched
but it's on your video.
that's on my video.
All right, so that's one we need to. That's one I need to check out.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Done. I'm gonna check it out. I didn't know you had it. Is this new? Did you just get this recently,
Oh,
or is it?
I had it when it came out, so it's been
So it's down the list of ways.
yeah,
All right, noted.
yeah, it's cool because they got cops at every exit, so he can't get out, but he does end up getting out. So,
So wait, is Josh Hartnett the guy?
yep,
And he's
he,
a killer?
yeah. Watching the trailer without the music. See, look, watch. Just in the bathroom, he's looking at his video camera. See, he's got somebody fucking trapped.
That smile's creepy.
Hmm.
All right, well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
look.
have to. I'm gonna have to check it out. The thing is, we can't leave that trailer up very long because then YouTube has an issue.
Yeah.
But like we can watch like 10, 15 seconds and we gotta move it. I gotta move. That's why I have to keep moving the screen. So like if you're watching this and you're like, why does he keep moving the screen all the time? It's so that YouTube you
Doesn't
know,
flag us.
doesn't flag the video.
Yeah.
That's also why we don't play the audio.
Yep. Yeah, it's
So
really good though. Watch it.
yeah, I'm gonna watch that for sure. All right. So I have homework. I gotta watch Trap. You
Yeah.
gotta ask your dad about Conclave.
Hmm.
What if he liked it way more than I liked it? Um,
That'd be interesting. I'll
yeah,
ask him.
I'm curious. And yeah, I think that might do it, eh?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. We gave him enough for today.
Yeah.
Good times. All right. Social medias. Bust out the little list here. We're going from bottom to top. So we're going to start with X at guys still high number 5. Follow us there. Also follow us at TikTok, guys who still high five, all spelled out. On Instagram, we are guys who still high number 5. YouTube, you can watch and listen uh, at guys who still high five, all spelled out. Patreon, you can also watch and listen. You can watch and listen 2 days earlier at Patreon, but you can also subscribe for $5 a month and get all of our bonus content. That is bonus Dear Daves. That is bonus Conspiracy Corners. That is bonus Drunk Not Drunk History. That is bonus, I guess you'd call them skits.
Mhm.
Uh, it's bonus. We got some other ideas we were thinking of. We're tossing around of what to put there. So, um, maybe some other stuff. But yeah, that'll get you some bonus content over at Patreon. Guys who still high five, all spelled out. Or you can email us if you have your own Dear Dave question, concern, whatever. Guys who still high five. That's guys who still high number 5 at gmail.com. And you can email us there.
Yeah.
And that'll do it. So we might have a surprise for the viewers and listeners in the coming weeks,
Yeah, in the near future.
in the near future. Maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, but I don't want to say anything just yet because, you know, but we'll tease it. All right.
Yeah.
We'll tease it. So, anyways, until next time,
Is there
right on.
left off?